Before we begin, subscribe to support Battle Mode Archive and tell us in the comments where you're watching from. To understand what we recorded on the night of February 9th, you need a basic truth about space. Nothing moves randomly up there. Every object in Earth orbit obeys strict mathematical rules. Once a satellite is launched, its path is predictable, calculable, and traceable. Deviations are rare, and when they happen, alarms follow. That night, alarms followed immediately. I was serving as Senior Operations Officer during an overnight shift at one of North America's primary space surveillance facilities. My background was orbital threat assessment, years spent watching trajectories, decay rates, and launch insertions from every major spacefaring nation. By then, I had reviewed tens of thousands of objects in orbit. Patterns become second nature. This one had no pattern. At precisely 0312 local time, an object appeared across multiple tracking systems at once. No gradual acquisition, no edge of range detection. It was simply there. Altitude, approximately 850 kilometers. Velocity, just over 7 kilometers per second. Orbit, stable, inclined, clean. Those numbers alone didn't concern us. Thousands of satellites share similar profiles. What stopped the room cold was the absence of identity data. No catalog number, no launch record, no decay history, nothing. One of my analysts called out the contact, and within seconds, every station in the room was focused on the same track. We ran immediate cross-checks against domestic, allied, and foreign databases. Then, we expanded the search to include retired hardware, classified payloads, and known debris clouds. The result was the same every time: 0 matches. That should not happen. Every object larger than a grapefruit is logged, tracked, and archived. Even mistakes leave paperwork. This object had none. It occupied orbital space that, according to every record we had, was empty. I requested scientific consultation. Our on-shift physicist reviewed the radar returns and orbital stability. After several minutes of silent calculation, he gave an assessment that made the situation worse. The object wasn't tumbling, it wasn't decaying, it wasn't drifting. It was maintaining orbit. Based on signal strength, he estimated its size at roughly 5 meters across, large enough to require a heavy launch vehicle. Large enough that its insertion into orbit would have been seen by multiple early warning systems across the globe. No such launch had been detected. That eliminated accidents. It eliminated debris. It eliminated secret launches. You cannot place an object of that size into orbit quietly, not with the surveillance infrastructure currently in place. Another analyst ran shape modeling on the radar signature. The return was unusually uniform. No protrusions, no panel scatter, no irregular reflections. The conclusion was unsettling. The object was almost perfectly spherical. Modern satellites are asymmetrical by necessity. Power systems, antennas, and sensors create complex profiles. A smooth sphere serves no practical purpose in contemporary orbital engineering. We watched it for over 90 minutes. It completed a full pass without altering altitude, speed, or orientation. No propulsion burns, no communications detected, no emissions of any kind, just silent motion. Protocol required escalation. Higher command was notified, additional sensors were tasked, external observatories were quietly queried under non-disclosure channels. Nothing new emerged. Then, without warning, the object did something that violated everything we understood. On the next orbital pass, it wasn't there. No breakup signature, no decay trail, no descent into atmosphere. One moment it was tracked cleanly across 3 systems, the next moment the orbital slot was empty. Satellites do not vanish. We spent weeks reconstructing the event. Equipment was tested, software audited, personnel questioned. Every explanation collapsed under scrutiny. There was no error. Something had been present in Earth orbit. something that obeyed orbital physics while it was there and then left without following them. My testimony ends with this. Space is not as empty as our maps suggest. Our surveillance is vast, but it is not omniscient. Whatever we tracked that night was not debris, not a satellite, and not a failure of our systems. It was an object that appeared where nothing should have been, moved as if it belonged there, and left without explanation. And the most troubling part is not that we couldn't identify it. It's that for a brief period of time, something shared our orbital space and left no trace that it was ever there at all.